Hello and welcome from Greens Lake Recreational Reserve, where I've come to do my first crochet lesson. It's a beautiful little free camping spot down here, so I've decided to kill two birds with one stone and show how you can crochet while you're away and get to enjoy some beautiful places at the same time. Alright, so this is the view from my table / campsite. That is Greens Lake. So now let's get into the lesson. Alright, so what you're going to need is some yarn. Now I'm using 8-ply, but you could use DK or a number 3 or 4. Number 4 I think is a little thicker, equivalent to our Australian 10-ply. But I'm using 8-ply yarn today. I'm using a 4mm hook. Can't quite get in focus. For 8-ply you can use anywhere from a 4 to a 5. Unless you're doing amigurumi, and then you'll use either a 3.25 or 7.5 to get tighter stitches, so you're stuffing. But we're just working on chain stitch today and Australian double crochet, or US term single crochet. Okay. Alright, we're going to begin with a slip knot. This, the very end, is called your tail. And the rest is your working yarn. Now, there's 101 ways to make a slip knot, but this is how I do it. Wrap around your fingers, cross over, then hold it as you take it off your finger. Now you've got this crossed over loop. Bring your working yarn behind and through and pull. Your tail's making the knot, and your working yarn will be able to slide through that yarn. Then get your hook, put it in, and you're ready. Now I'm working with a center pull yarn. Sometimes that creates yarn vomit, and then sometimes you get the right ball, it'll come out nice and easy. But either way. Alright, so we're going to start with the chain stitch. So if you're right-handed, this is how you hold. But if you're left-handed, it'll be this way. I'm right-handed, so bear with me. Alright, now we're going to weave the working yarn between your ring finger and your pinky, over your two middle fingers, and then around your pointer. That, when held tight by your fingers, and especially if you move like this, it won't move. But as soon as you release it, it slides through. And you do it bit by bit. So between the last two, over the middle two, and around the pointer. Now you then use your thumb and your middle finger to hold the tail as you work, and this helps with your tension and the control of your work, because you're not going to get anywhere if it's all loose. But using your fingers, all right, Now, holding between thumb and middle finger on your right, and I tend to use my pointer as just a bit more control. And you're going to want to be able to twist your hook so the hook goes down. Okay? Now your chains need to be loose enough so that your hook will feed through. Just move my work, give you... Alright, so you want to be able to pull that through. Now, to start chaining, we're going to wrap the yarn around from the back over to the front, and you're going to twist your hook so that it aims down and then pull through from the back to the front, turn and pull through. Alright, and this is how we will continue our chains. I'm sorry, I hope I'm in focus because I can't tell in this light. So, around the back to the front, turn your hook down and pull through. And we will continue this until you feel you can get an easy rhythm and a consistent size for your chains so that you can get your hook in without having a fight. Alright, I'll just do a few more chains. Okay, round the back, turn your hook down to go through the chain. Alright, pause here and practice your chains until you feel comfortable, and then come back and we will work on the stitch. Okay, welcome back. Now I've done 21 chains. 20 chains is the stitch count and 1 chain for turning. Okay, so alright, so now we want to go the second chain from the hook, because the first one is what your yarn is feeding through. So we go to the second, in, yarn over, pull through, and you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the 2. Now when you can see the 2 strands that your hook is feeding through, your stitch is complete. We then go to the next, hook in, yarn over, pull through. See the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through. Now this is what we're going to continue through to the end. So find your next hole, yarn in, hook in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And let's continue to the end. Now if I'm going too fast at any time, you can slow the speed down to 0.25, I think. But you won't want to listen to me because that will sound horrible. But we just continue, next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Sorry about background noises, but that's with camping. Okay, hook in, yarn over, yarn over, hook in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and continue to the end. Now almost to the end. Okay. Last two. In, yarn over, yarn over. Last one. Hook in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. And that's your row complete. Now some of you may be doing it on that long chain that you did, and that's fine. You don't have to go the whole length of the chain, just to enough. Alright, if you're at the end, we're going to chain up. This gives you your stitch height for your next row. So just like when you're making your chain row. Now we're going to turn. Alright, now you're going to be looking for that first gap. Now, can you see that? That's the stitch just up your last stitch of the previous row. Now you will see a row of V's. You will be working under these V's. So hook through, making sure you can see that both sides of the stitch is over your hook. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And you can see how that chain gives you your height for your stitch. Now we're going to work all the way along into these holes, and I'll see you at the other end. I'll do a few more. So into the hole, making sure the V is both sides is there, yarn over, pull through, having the 2, yarn over, pull through, and you can see the 2 parts of the stitch. Hook in, yarn over, and complete. So here we are at the last few stitches. Hook in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, hook in, yarn over, yarn over. Now, the last stitch. This is the first turning stitch that you did for the previous row. And as you can tell, it too looks like a V, and it's coming out of your chain, from the chain row. So you want to get your hook into that. In, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and that completes the row. So we yarn over to create a chain to give you a height for your next row. Alright. You see that? And now it's just pretty much continue until you've got enough rows that you're happy with. Now, a lot of amigurumi uses this stitch, and it just goes around. But you learn this stitch and you're able to then move on to toys. So just keep going to the end. Alright, last 2 stitches of the row. And it's easier to see the last one now that you've really started doing your rows. So last one, last V. Oops. See? Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Now once your stitches get more consistent, your work will lay flat. But don't stress about the twist, it's the nature of the yarn. So it's not you, it's the yarn. But with more rows, that will end up stop twisting. I'm going to do a few more rows and then I'll come back. Alright, now nearing the end. Now, if you need to put your work down for a little while, but you don't want to lose your work, then this is where the stitch markers come in handy. You put it in, do it up, and that will stop sliding through. Now, you can use anything for this. You can use these sort of stitch markers, you can use safety pins, you can use hair clips, or you can even make your own. I'd made out of some beads, wire, and a lobster claw clip. Now, stitch markers are also used for when you've got to do something different in your pattern at a certain point. But let's go to the end and I'll show you again with the stitch marker, and then alright. Now if you're at an end, Then same, grab your stitch marker, hook it through your yarn, and there we have. That'll stop your work feeding through. Now I'm going to show you how to finish off. Alright, with your hook in, now we're going to yarn over as if you're making a chain, pull that through, cut your yarn, now scissors, or if you're in a yarn store or a haberdashery store and you see one of these, grab them, because you can wear them like a pendant or hook them into your, keep them in with your projects, and they work. There's a blade in the center and you put your yarn into one of those notches. Alright, with these you just put your yarn into a notch, keep tension and pull it so that it cuts, and then pull through, and that creates a knot and finishes off your work. So to know if you're or an odd row, your tail end will be on one side, so you don't count your chain row. The first row coming back. Alright, so the first row coming back is row 1. So the tail tells you that that is the odd side. When you finish off on the opposite side, you have finished off on an even side. So that helps. And this is another thing with stitch markers. To keep count of your rows, you'll put it in the row to the same side as the tail end, usually on an even row, and that helps you to keep count of your rows. Now, next lesson we will learn Australian half treble come US half double. Now those stitches are halfway between your double / single crochet and your treble / double crochet. I hope I'm getting you somewhere. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.